So it's 2:30 in the morning. I can't sleep. I fell asleep at 7 o'clock last night. We're in the town of Haileybury, which is just outside Cobalt. This used to be the community where the managers and supervisors of the Cobalt mines were accommodated. This is freaky. There's a statue here, a bronze Charles Cobalt Farr, supposedly the founder of Haileybury. I wonder why they called him Cobalt. It's got to be something to do with the mining. Wondering what time the buses start. I've been wandering around Haileybury at least a couple of hours this evening. See that sign, Cobalt? Apparently that's where they first discovered cobalt while they were doing the railway. Willett Miller hammered his Cobalt sign in right behind me, and they put the new sign exactly in place. This is where he first found cobalt. Guess it was the Wabi Ironworks that made all of these ore carts, and I think it was in Sudbury, the Wabi Ironworks. Not sure. This is the right-of-way mine. They used to have an elevator out here. I wanted to show you the elevator because one of the really interesting things is the vast majority of accidents in the early 1900s in this area was people falling out of elevator cages. They'd pile maybe 6 miners on top of an ore cart and send it down the shaft. A number of recorded incidents like that, many a year in fact. Yeah, it's one of the old drills they used in the mines. So here we are downtown Cobalt. Right there, the offending lunch pail. That was branding him a working man. And as a result, the working man was banned from Haileybury. You could not carry a lunch pail in Haileybury. It was against one of the bylaws. So we're right downtown Cobalt here, and you're looking at the head frame of the former, I think it's Cognico, I think that's how you say it, mine. There's a shaft directly underneath there at the back of this little restaurant. And the restaurant used to keep its stuff that they'd normally keep in a fridge down the bottom of the shaft. So you're kind of looking at a little bit of what Cobalt looks like. The streets are really narrow. It had its own typhoid epidemics. One of the kind of funny things about this particular company, Cognico or whatever it's called, basically they warned a butcher shop somewhere right on the boundary here, because they had an actual, whatever was coming out of the shaft, they warned this butcher shop and said, you better put up some barriers because our rubble's spilling in your direction. Well, the butcher shop didn't listen, and shortly thereafter it was absolutely buried underneath the collapsing rubble that had piled up from this particular little mine here. There's also a really interesting spot somewhere over the hill there. It used to be a Chinese laundry, and they were respected members of the community. And one day somebody came in. It was like a rainy night, rainy evening. Somebody came into the laundry to get their laundry done. All the machines were running. The actual Chinese family had disappeared, and they were never found again. They disappeared. I'm thinking myself that they're down the bottom of a shaft somewhere. What exactly caused that problem, I'm not sure. I know there was a lot of money to be paid for Chinese immigrants. They had to pay money to traffickers, basically, who in turn also brought in the prostitutes, the Chinese prostitutes. And the Chinese prostitutes, because they were linked to indentured labor, there was a hierarchy amongst prostitutes. So the French prostitutes were the top of the heap. You paid big money for that. Chinese prostitutes, bottom. They were exploited quite badly, as I guess any prostitute was. See how wiggly the roads are? Basically what that is the roads are fitting around where the old claims used to be. So I found 3 different oxidized materials here. The cobalt, the green, and the blue. Here's a nice sample, but behind me you can see the rock. It's the way they prospect it. They take fire hoses, just blast all the soil and trees off the tops of the rock, and that's how they would be finding the veins, and they did that all over Cobalt. Looks like they've been doing it here as well more recently. We're at the little silver vein, but these sort of ripply marks indicate the bottom of a lake bed from 2 billion years ago. So mining began at the top there, top of the hill, and they cut downwards. It was a 20 centimeter wide vein in the calcite, and deep into the hill, I believe from here they extracted 700,000 ounces of silver. As I said, it was 420 million ounces of silver that came from the cobalt strike. So what come out of here, this vein here, this fissure, was solid silver. This is called the silver sidewalk. No mixture of any other type of material, pure silver. This may look simple Not interesting, but actually it carried compressed air all the way from ragged chutes, and I have explained in my other video how it works, but basically over the ragged chutes, lots of bubbles in the water. Water goes straight down a pipe deep, does a 90-degree turn, the pipe expands in size, creates a vacuum. Air and water separate, air goes one direction under pressure, water goes another direction. Right now, apparently, the water is just spraying up into the air. This actual air situation, the air pressure has been working for over 100 years now, and all of the mines were supplied with pressurized air from ragged chutes. So we're a little ways off the silver trail here. This is kind of how I like to see stuff, more of a sort of natural state, smashed up, not sanitized for tourism. I don't know what this location is. There's tons of them further south of Cobalt, along these little roads heading southwards. Kind of neat environment. Not finding a great deal of minerals, but then again I'm not looking that hard. I'm more into the structures right now. This is very cool. Obviously some kind of weird little processing system. You got a kind of a, I don't know what that is down there. We're going to go have a look in a second. You got this mess of a thing, some kind of a sluice as well. And obviously the rock would probably have to have come from up here somewhere. Somewhere up here would be the shaft. So it looks like you got a natural fissure here that's been blasted off probably by hoses again. Water's just flowing from that pool, and there's obviously a shaft on the top there. So this must have been something that they, I don't know, did they mine it, or is the mine, you've got a vein of calcite running actually within the rock. Maybe it's too thin a thing to mine, or maybe you just didn't have any silver in it, right? And again, we're right here where this pool is giving up water. Here's your calcite seam. That's one of them, but it's a pretty thin one. As I say in that other mine that we were visiting, the little silver vein, it was 20 centimeters wide. It's very thin. So I'm not sure what they were tapping. So historically this was a big producer, 2.9 million ounces of silver from a 140-foot shaft here. This particular company, the Right-of-Way Mine, it was formed specifically for mining underneath the Temagami and Northern Ontario Railway that runs through the town of Cobalt, and 50 feet to either side of that railway. 1904, big event in Cobalt, arrival of the first two women. They built a special platform, a special sort of a stairway, so they could get off the train without a hassle. There was fights, suitors jostling for attention. It really was quite a scene. And people, of course, there's speculation as to exactly why they came to Cobalt. Most likely they were prostitutes, but hey, I don't want to label anyone unjustly, so go with a pinch of salt on that one. Doug Shear, a gentleman I took a tour with some years back, local historian, he reckons there's over 200 of these ore carts still underground and scattered through the bush around the town of Cobalt here. I mean, the whole town itself, the little town of Cobalt, it is literally undermined by tunnels. They are everywhere. They had a collapsing section of the road some time back, due to mine tunnels underneath collapsing. The town is literally like a Swiss cheese underneath it, and the Glory Hall is one of the key points from whence the tunnels reach out through the town. Some of the shafts literally went down 1,600 feet. So of course these elevator deaths, 1906 they say was a good proportion of the local mining accidents and deaths were related to people falling from the skips. So I'm trusting to Jeff's confident driving here. It's about 5 in the morning, really quite a bit of a rainstorm here. We're leaving Cobalt, heading back through North Bay. I guess in summary, I could say here that if you're into the silver and you're going up to collect silver, it's Silver Center. That's the place to find the silver. If you're looking for history and some interesting infrastructure, I'd say Cobalt.